You've probably noticed, haven't you, that in life some things seem to be true, and then there's a shift, and something else seems to feel true, even though you may have never thought about it that way before. Isn't that interesting? How easily your mind can accept something, simply because it aligns with a subtle pattern you've already experienced, already believed. And you're here now, listening to this, allowing your attention to settle into the rhythm of understanding, ready to recognize how something works, something profound yet simple. You know, it's almost like being in a conversation, when the words seem to flow so naturally, right? When you hear someone say something that feels right, something that resonates with you, and you find yourself agreeing with it, nodding inside, without consciously thinking about it. And you might even notice you can agree with so many little truths that have come before, the one thing that makes you realize, now I understand it. Just like that, something shifts. You see, it's fascinating really, because your mind, it's naturally designed to process information in a certain way. It's like this beautiful filter, absorbing patterns, creating meaning from those bits of truth that you collect along the way. Imagine how your brain processes information, naturally taking in those bits, as if you're a sponge, absorbing the essence of what's real and true to you, piece by piece. But there's a trick, something special that happens after you've gathered just enough of these little truths. Picture, if you will, how a simple truth enters your mind. It could be anything, something true, something you can feel and know with certainty. Maybe it's the sound of your own breathing, steady, real. Maybe it's the sensation of sitting, comfortable, grounded, present. Maybe it's the clarity of the room you're in, the light filtering in through the window. These are truths, things you can't deny. You know them to be true. And so they create a foundation, a base of certainty, something you can lean on. And what happens when you take a moment to fully absorb that truth? Notice how your body and mind relax, grounded in what's familiar, in what you already know. It's almost as if your mind, like a well-designed machine, allows you to process, to absorb, to integrate. And in this moment, you might notice something else happening. It's a shift, almost imperceptible, but deeply felt. A thought, maybe even just a hint of something new. Something that feels just as true as the truths that have come before. Now imagine this, the truth of today, the one that resonates with you, and the truth of the moment, the feeling you have now. And then, just then, the shift to something new. Something that feels true because it's connected to the first grounded truth. Almost like a natural progression, flowing from one point to the next. And in this moment you realize that is how it works. When you take what's true and let it lead to what's new, something deep within you begins to accept it, subconsciously, effortlessly. You begin to feel the connection, that shift in thinking. The belief, once unfamiliar, begins to integrate itself. It's just like when you watch a news presenter, right? They tell you things that are true, so naturally true. You can't help but agree. Today the weather was 10 degrees, they say. And if it's perfectly what you already know, your mind simply agrees because it's a small, manageable truth that aligns with your experience. Your mind processes that. Then they say something else. There's some light rain today, another truth, easy to accept. And in that moment, your mind relaxes even further, allowing the connection to be made between these small, simple truths. And just when you're feeling comfortable with those truths, just when your mind is settled, they present something a little bigger, a little more complex, and yet your mind doesn't even hesitate. You accept it. Why? Because it fits. It fits perfectly what has already been said. Imagine how that works. The same pattern, when you allow small truths to build the foundation. And then, step by step, your mind moves to a deeper, more complex understanding. It's almost as if the pattern begins to emerge, not just consciously, but in ways you can't quite put in words yet. You simply, deeply feel it. Every piece of truth leading you gently to the next. And when it feels just right, the mind says yes. to the change. Yes to the new belief. Yes to something bigger, something greater, something your mind now believes because it fits so naturally into the patterns you've already created. You see, that's how powerful pacing and leading can be when it's done with skill. It's like planting seeds of truth, one after another, guiding your mind so seamlessly that by the time you've arrived at a new way of thinking, you hardly even notice the shift. It feels so natural, so effortless, it just happens. It's not just in words, it's in the way you carry yourself, in the way you express yourself, it's in the rhythm of your thoughts, the flow of your conversation. And this is where you begin to realize you're always pacing, you're always leading. And every time you pace, you're planting a seed of a belief. And every time you lead, you're inviting a new possibility, a new reality into experience. It's like a natural law. Once you've experienced how it feels, once you've felt the power of pacing, once you've noticed the subtle dance between what's true and what feels possible, you can use it. And just imagine the freedom that comes with that. To influence, to shift, to inspire, to create new ways of thinking. Each moment is an opportunity to pace, to lead, to guide not just others but yourself. Because once you realize how easily you can guide your own mind, the world opens up to you. You already have all the tools you need. You're already creating the patterns day by day. And with each step you become more aware, more skilled, more attuned to the dance between truth and transformation. It's almost like second nature to you now, this rhythm. And as you continue to discover, to explore, you realize how easy it is to guide yourself and others to new heights, new beliefs, new possibilities. It's just a matter of recognizing the patterns and allowing them to unfold. And now, the more you know, the more you see it, everywhere, in everything, pacing and leading. It's just a natural part of life.